Welcome to today's Be Prepared report. I'm Vincent Creel, the Public Affairs Manager for the City of Biloxi. We record these segments every Monday and Friday. This one is being recorded on Friday, August 21st, 2020 at 2 in the afternoon. Today we have news about the tropical forecast and what you need to know to prepare for threatening weather. But first, a quick update on the coronavirus pandemic. Today, the Mississippi State Department of Health reports that in the past 24 hours, 874 new cases of the virus were identified statewide. That means since Monday, we've seen more than 3,900 new cases throughout the state. As you can see from this chart, the statewide total since mid-March is now more than 76,000 cases of the coronavirus. In the past 24 hours, 24 deaths were attributed to the coronavirus statewide. That brings the statewide total since mid-March to more than 2,200 deaths. This chart shows you the 14-day track on new cases statewide. In Harrison County, the State Department of Health reports that we've seen 57 positive tests of the coronavirus in the past 24 hours. That means since Monday in Harrison County, we've seen a total of 164 new cases of the virus. The State Department also reports that, remember, since mid-March, we've seen 43 deaths in Harrison County attributed to the coronavirus. Here's the 14-day tracking chart for Harrison County. The basic recommendations and mandates remain the same from the City of Biloxi. Wash your hands frequently. Wear a mask and keep your distance. Limit trips when you can. Avoid social functions. Remember, we continue to be in a pandemic. Now let's talk weather. With the coronavirus and everything else we have going on right now, perhaps you have not followed the 2020 hurricane season too closely. Weather forecasters have been saying from the beginning that this was expected to be a record-setting season, with as many as 24 named storms. Even though we have not seen a major threat locally, the 2020 season has lived up to the predictions so far. Today, we're looking at the prospect of having 2 storms in the Gulf within the next few days, with a possible landfall for both midweek. It's too early to say much more. Conditions will become clearer over the weekend. But here's what we do know. This morning, Tropical Storm 13 became Laura, the 12th named storm of this season. This is a record, by the way. This is the earliest that we have seen an L since Lewis on August 29th of 1995. The National Hurricane Center forecast shows Laura approaching Florida and the Gulf of Mexico as either a strong tropical storm or hurricane early next week. However, you can expect the forecast to become clearer over the next few days. Warm ocean temperatures and low to moderate wind shear favor the steady strengthening of this storm through the weekend. Meanwhile, Tropical Depression 14 is in the Caribbean. When and if its winds reach 39 miles an hour, it will get a name, Marco. The storm is forecast to make landfall in Texas or Louisiana by Wednesday, possibly as a Category 1 hurricane. We could see rain Sunday since Mississippi would be on the right, wetter side of the storm. What do you need to be doing right now? Make sure you have a storm kit with the essentials. Pick up loose items in your yard. Clean the storm drains and gutters in front of your property so that they can drain effectively. Take some photos of property so you'll have a record in case there's damage. All of the tips you need are right here on the city website. Here's the bottom line. There's nothing to be alarmed about. Just pay attention to the weather forecasts and listen to the advisories and do the things you need to do to prepare your property and your family. And by the way, before you ask, yes, there have been 2 storms in the Gulf before. The Hurricane Center tells us it happened in 1933, 1959, and as recently as 2002. We leave you today with another trip with the world-famous hurricane hunters, based right here at Keesler Air Force Base. Have a good weekend. We'll see you Monday. Please be safe. Please mask up.
Breaking news, a massive Category 4 hurricane is heading straight for the East Coast.
More than 1 million people have been told to evacuate.
Millions of Americans are now bracing for this storm.
Bring catastrophic flooding with more than 3 feet of rain.
On average, it costs $1 million to evacuate a mile of coastline. So the tighter you have that forecast, the fewer people are evacuating. The forecast is between 25 or 30% more accurate with our data.
It kind of helps narrow that cone of uncertainty down exactly where the storm is going to hit. If we had not been providing that information, can you just imagine how many more lives would have been lost?
From a pilot perspective, flying into hurricane goes against everything that we are trained, which is avoid weather, avoid weather, avoid weather. You don't really know what to expect because every single storm is different. Always, always, always respect the storm.
Hurricanes are formed over the ocean basins, over warm water. You get a lot of evaporation. When they start forming more vertically and get that cyclonic rotation to them, they get stronger. They have the capability of growing higher up in the atmosphere and therefore becoming hurricanes.
In that moment, when I go out to that plane, for me again, it's game on. And you have tornadoes, you have the excessive amount of rain, you have ice, lightning. We've been struck by lightning. Well, the information that we gather from the flight is provided from the instrument that I drop into the storm, which again is the dropsonde.
The type of data that we're able to gather from our flights is anything from time, location, temperature, dew point, wind direction, wind speed, pressures, heights, rain rates, surface wind speeds.
The satellites will provide a good map picture. Let's say it's a map of the United States, whereas our data helps them develop a street map, if you will.
When we fly an invest, which is an investigation into a potential storm, we fly 500 to 1,000 feet off the ocean surface. We fly all 4 quadrants of that storm. And what we're doing at that time is investigating to see where the winds are and if there's going to be a circular formation that forms. If there's that circular formation that forms, we know we have a storm.
The stadium effect is the inside eye wall of a hurricane.
Sure enough, it's calm inside, there's blue skies, and there's a stadium. And I'm like, no way, this is so cool.
It's very rare to see, and you're inside what's basically a football stadium made of clouds. What's special about the Hurricane Hunters being a reserve mission is that we get to keep the continuity and not have a turnover of personnel every 3 years like you may have on active duty.
Reserve citizen airmen provide a variety of different backgrounds from the civilian world. So for instance, my situation where I'm an airline pilot, our weather officers, a lot of them work in weather as forecasters, as meteorologists.
The most gratifying aspect of my job is knowing that lives are being saved.
There's really nothing we can do to stop it, but we can be there to collect the data so that they know where the storm is going next.
If people can get out and evacuate and save lives, that's the most rewarding thing.